Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's October 7th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and kind of a not a great trading day. There's some trades today, but it was a weird kind of trading day. We started out trading higher, turned quickly and traded down most of the day until we just started trading sideways. We did bounce off the lows and then just kind of went sideways, closing off the lows. We did close lower today. We actually traded higher, made a new contract higher, and then closed lower. Uh, so you can see we're just kind of working sideways again here. We're been up here near overbought territory. My guess is we're still going to head higher here. I don't think we are topped out yet. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't top out soon in this market. But I don't. I'd be shocked if we had created if we had the final high yet. I think we're going to go higher before it's over. I could be wrong, um, but this thing has just been really bullish, and the buying just keeps coming. And when we do have corrections, they're not very big corrections. They last a day or so at the most, and then we're headed higher again. So we'll see. Um, you never know. The market can change on a dime and can fool you in a heartbeat. So, but definitely a bearish day today. I'll leave it at that. An outside bearish day. But let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart so you can see what that looks like. And I mean, some of the smallest signal bars I remember seeing in a long, long time. I mean, multiple signal bars under 8 ticks. And it's been a while since we've had that. But let's flip over there and we'll take a look and we'll go through the trades and we'll take a look at how this day kind of played out. Kind of a strange day, really. But you can see we started up, topped out, and then just turned, and it got ugly for a little while there. And really, from about 10:30 on, it was sideways. But we had a little bit of a range here, but you can see it's not consistent lows. The lows are all over the place. The highs are not consistent really either. They're all in this same general area, but they're not consistent. So it's difficult to trade those. But you'll see a lot of these signal bars on some of these are. I think I want to say there were multiple ones that were 7 ticks for whatever reason. Just seems like an odd number compared to what we've been having lately. But uh, there just wasn't a whole lot of setups here to get in this thing on the way down. Most of them were played off the range or something, and we just never came back to the trend line. It got too weak until we got a break, and then it never could find any kind of bottom or anything. We just kind of worked sideways. We did close into a little higher into the. We did go a little higher into the close, but nothing really to write home about or be excited about. So, but let's zoom in here. 7 o'clock came as we're really making this stretch up, and there just wasn't a chance to really get in this thing to ride any of that up at that point. We do get a 2 legs back to the EMA, but again, no setup, nothing you could go long on. There's a higher low here, but you can't go long there. And then suddenly you make a new high, and then you make a lower high. I like the lower high just as long as the key here was having enough room back to that EMA. And if you did, and there just was enough room, and it did just get exactly 6 ticks, and that's what it takes to scalp out. Because if otherwise you would have got stopped out on it. But it turns back down again. We get a close outside, move to a new low, and then it um, comes back up and tests the breakout area. You could almost argue there's a triple test there, but there's no close outside new high. Maybe it closes outside. It's real close. I think you need a lower high or second entry or something there, and you just don't get it. The bottom just falls out of it, and it runs down, and then it comes back again. But at least this time you get 2 legs back. And you do get a second entry short, and it confirms right off the confirmed trend line. That's a nice setup there. It takes a minute before it takes off, but I think you have to take that trade, and boom, off it goes. And then you just get another first entry, and then by that time you're working sideways. Now we traded down into this, so it's kind of a bearish tone to the market now, but I don't see any opportunity to go short there. And there's no real chance to go long. This is all too congested. This one was tempting, but when we broke lower there, something says, hey, you got to wait. And by the time you get this little setup, I mean, this one's only 6 ticks. But again, if you went long there, you can see we're making lower highs there each time, and this thing is just looks a little sideways, and we're struggling to get above that midline. So I didn't like entering on any of them. If you entered on this one, you would have got stopped out. If you entered on either one of those, you probably get stopped out. So depending on how you enter, but I didn't like either one of them. I actually tried to do I think it was about right around 10 o'clock. I was going to try to demonstrate a trade, and actually I think it was about 10:30. It was like right in here. And I waited an hour and didn't see anything that I'd be willing to take, and then I just gave up. So I never could really demonstrate a trade today. There just weren't. I mean, if you caught this trade, you probably didn't need anything else today, especially if you got a runner on it, which you could have, depending on how you played it. But you didn't get a whole lot of other opportunities. There's a second entry short here, but it's an inside bar. There's no close outside new high yet. Maybe there's an overshoot, but I don't even think there is. I think this has just moved a little bit. I think that should be up there. Actually, I think this really should be right here. I think it just had moved around some. That's why it looked like. I think that's how I originally had it played. And there's no close outside or break and new high or anything. So I don't think you can take that second entry on an inside bar. Turns out to be a great move, but just no setup there. And then we're working sideways. We get a little failed breakout, but no setup there. We do get a triple test here, but you're still in that trend channel. And so there's a good chance it could push back up. So I'm not crazy about entering there. This one was tempting, but it doesn't break above until this bar. So then you get like a little 2-bar matching. I think they're both matching. The high, that one's 64.25, and the low is 62.25. So yeah, you see they're just there. It's like an inside bar. If you took it, it would have worked, but that's not rejection, and you got to be careful with that. It comes back up, and you get another touch with a nice signal bar. I like that one. It runs back down. It bounces again. Now, this is pretty much a repeat pattern. This one does break higher. I'm not sure if this breaks higher or lower first. I'm not sure which way it broke first, but I like entering on this bar when it kind of gave you the repeat pattern. Plus, it was a tick higher and a tick lower. So if it breaks above that, it's probably going to go higher. So I liked that one. Just playing it as a repeat pattern, basically. Seeing if it would go higher again. I did like that short, of course. You get another one here, but the signal bar is no good. There's actually a second entry long there, but you don't want to go long there. It runs up, breaks out. There's a first entry there, but again, you want to wait on a lower high or something here, and you just don't get it. And before we're going lower again. Now you do get a little wonky second entry short here. That is a third touch. It does confirm the trend line. I think the signal bar is probably okay. It's a weird little setup, but you can clearly see there's 2 legs back to the trend line of the EMA. And so I marked it green. It looks a little congested and sideways, but you can see those bars are making, there's clearly 2 legs back there. So if you took that one, great read. I was a little afraid of it, so I only marked it green, but it's there. So it's just not easy to see, and it's just kind of a weird day. Again, signal bar 8 ticks. I mean, just a lot of little small bars today, and it's been a while since we've seen that. We run down, we come up short this time, so we end up with a break, and that's just the first entry, and that's a little sideways. Runs down to a new low. You can get a higher low here, but again, that's your signal bar. It doesn't qualify. We don't really get a break and a new high before it turns down again. And this is just kind of in no man's land here. We're not back to the trend line. We don't really have a break and a new high of the channel working up. It's just a weird setup, but it just turns lower again. And that's a pretty good move down, but then we're just chopping sideways. There's another second entry right here. I didn't mark that one either. You would expect what you have is you really have a little. This looks really more like a spiking channel to me. I probably would have drawn it like this because it's what it looks like, a spiking channel. And then you get a close outside here and a little two-legged correction. And you can see, I think there's enough room to get out there before the low. Yeah, there's 2.5 points. I didn't mark it, but it's the way the market has looked today. I think you could even argue for that to be red. We haven't touched the low here or anything. It ends up going sideways, but it's still a pretty good setup. And you actually get another one right here. Again, it closes inside. It doesn't leave you a lot of room to the low, but again, I think there's enough room there that you could take that. So it's only 2 touches is the problem. I think the way I was reading this earlier, I ended up expanding this, and the reason I didn't mark this is because I was reading this as a range across here, and that is both of these is failed breakouts. But in the end, I don't think they are failed breakouts. I think the range was just higher up. So, you know, in real time, I was thinking these were green, but after I redrew this chart, getting more price action, I'd make both these red. But in real time, I was thinking they were green at best because they look like they closed outside, and you probably want to wait on a lower high. But in the end, like I said, I think you're within the range. It's just if you see that and you recognize that, you might have caught onto it here, but it still wasn't for sure. And you can see we ended up breaking out there. But this is a second entry short, and we do get a close outside a new high on this one. So I like that one. The reason I marked that one green is because we weren't quite back to the trend line, and I was really afraid prices would make one more push up. Looking at it after the fact, I was wrong, but that's the way I would read it in real time, so I marked it green. By the time we get here, it's just we're looking congested and sideways. Then you move back into the range, and again you get a first entry, second entry, so you get another second entry short, and now it's pretty obvious there's the resistance of the range is here. So I like that one. And then you get another lower high. This one you got to go long right into the midline, so it just barely leaves enough room to get out, so I did mark it green. And then we had a little failed breakout that reversed and turned up. You could enter this one just above that. Since it was a failed breakout, there was probably a good chance we were at least going to go back to the trend line, and we could make a bottom here. And so I tend to like those breakouts like that. So I marked this one blue. It's close. You could argue for it to be green because you got to go long right into that resistance, but we already pushed through it once. So there's a good chance we could push through it again and head back to that trend line, especially with the break lower. They couldn't take it higher. You can see they tried multiple times to go higher. And this is what they'll do when they can't take it higher. They'll let it fail out the low side and trap people and reverse it. And that's what they did here. And you can see they were finally able to not only take it higher, they took it 2 legs higher, and they got outside the main trend line. And so that's clearly 2 legs up. This is not a second entry by the counts because you get a tick lower there. But this looks like 2 legs up to me with a little trap at the top. And again, that's only like 7 ticks. So I like going short there. It's a nice signal bar. It broke higher, failed, turned down instantly. And then we were off, trending back down again. Here you get a close outside, and you actually get a close outside there. It's mild, Both of them are mild, but you get a close outside and a couple of legs down, it looks like, and then it reverses. You can't go long there. It's too congested. But now you clearly get two legs up with a close outside, and I like going short on that one. Again, no runners or anything there. It seemed like every time you got a good second entry short that was clear, you could get the scalp, but you didn't get much more out of it. So, and you might argue there's a triple test there, but you're right into resist support there. Again, it looks again like a bit of a range across here. And you can see that. And so for that reason, I was a little wary of going short right there. And this one was tempting on the breakout, but you can see we're in this downtrend channel. So I don't think you want to go long there either. Runs back up, makes a lower high, and gives you a second entry short there. You actually get a first entry here and a second entry there. It doesn't close outside and make a new high, but I still like taking it on the second entry. And it drops down pretty quickly. Okay, I had a little interruption there. I think we talked about this second entry. I like that one. It runs down. You actually get a second entry long here, but you just got to close outside and no low yet. So I was a little afraid of going long there. Maybe wait on the higher low, which never comes until way up here, and that's too late. Then you get a close outside, and then you're just working sideways here. And I don't see anything that I like to go long there. This was tempting to go short, but it looks so congested and it's closing outside. So I would sit tight on those as well. And you can see it ends up pushing higher. It ends up making another couple legs up. But here you finally make a measured move based on the width of the range. And you do get a second entry short there. And it's a fairly decent signal bar. I marked that one green. It's close to being red. Again, you're better off to wait on the lower high. So probably that's the main reason you mark that one green. And then there's just nothing you can trade in here. And that takes us into 230. It just was a strange trading day. Early on, there weren't a lot of trades at all. We did pick up a little bit here late in the afternoon, some shorts, but nothing, no, really from about 10:30 on, there's nothing clear here because, like I said, it's sideways, choppy price action, but there's no consistent lows and highs. You had a little bit of consistent lows down here, but nothing else consistent on elsewhere. I mean, look where these lows are all in different places. These highs are all in different places. And that makes it hard to trade range rules. You want to see consistent sideways where it turned, you want to see it consistently turn down at the same place, like here, or consistently turn up at the same place, kind of like we did across down here. So, and if you don't, then, you got to be very wary of buying or selling. And you got to be real careful doing any buying here unless you thought it was bottoming out, because we're in a pretty strong downtrend here. So you're better off looking for shorts. But anyway, there it is. Not a great trading day, not the best trading day, but there's still plenty of trades here that if you were just patient, but you had to be really patient. Like I said, I tried to demonstrate a trade today, and I spent an hour, and I finally ran out of time. I just couldn't devote any more time to it, and I gave up. And I'll try it again when I get some more time. But just one of those trading days, I think. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.